And action.
Hey, Eugene.
Hi, Stan. My brother Stan. He's okay, you'll like him. What are you doing home so early?
Is Pop home yet?
No. Did you ask about the tickets?
What tickets?
For the Yankee game. You said your boss knew this guy who could get passes. You didn't ask him?
Me and my boss had other things to talk about. I'm in trouble, Huge. I mean, big trouble.
This really shocked me. Because Stan is the kind of guy who could talk himself out of any kind of trouble. What kind of trouble?
I got fired today.
Fired? You mean for good?
You don't get fired temporarily. It's permanent. It's a lifetime firing.
Why? What happened?
It's a account of Andrew. You know, the color guy who sweeps up?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he was cleaning the floor in the stockroom and he lays his broom against the table to put some junk in the trash can. And the broom slips, knocks a can of linseed oil all over the table and ruins 3 brand new hats right out of the box. I mean, $9 Stentons. It wasn't his fault. He didn't put the linseed oil there, right?
Right.
So Mr. Strom sees the oily hats and he gets crazy. And he says to Andrew that the hats are going to have to come out of his salary. That's $27. So Andrew starts to cry. And he's 42 years old and he's balling all over the stockroom. I mean, the man hasn't got too much furniture upstairs anyway, but I mean, he's really sweet. He brings me coffee, always laughing, telling me jokes. I never understood them, but I laugh anyway, you know? Make him feel good. You know? Anyway, I said to Mr. Strom, I didn't think that was fair. It wasn't Andrew's fault.
You said that to him?
Sure, why not? So Mr. Strom says, "Hey, you want to pay for the hats, big mouth?" So I said, "No, I don't want to pay for the hats." So he says, "Well, then mind your own business, big mouth."
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, so Mr. Strom looks at me like machine gun bullets are coming out of his eyes. And then calmly sends Andrew over to the factory to pick up 3 new hats, which is usually my job. So guess what Mr. Strom tells me to do?
What?
He tells me to sweep up. He says, for this week, I'm the cleaning man.
I can't believe it.
I mean, everybody's watching me now, waiting to see what I'm gonna do. I mean, even Andrew stopped crying and watched. I felt the dignity of the entire room who worked in that store was in my hands. So, I grit my teeth, and I pick up the broom. And there's this big pile of dirt right in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
I sweep it all over Mr. Strom's shoes. I mean, Andrew had just finished shining them this morning, if you want to talk about irony.
Oh, I'm dying. I'm actually dying.
I mean, you could see everyone in the place is about to bust a gut. I mean, Mrs. Mulcahy, the bookkeeper, I mean, can hardly keep her false teeth in her mouth. Andrew's eyes are hanging 5 inches out of their eye sockets.
This is the greatest story in the history of the world.
So, Mr. Strom grabs me, pulls me into his back office, closes the door, and pulls down the shades. He gives me this whole story about how he was brought that if I ever did such a thing, they would carry me away and put me into the Kampf, and they'd carry me away dead.
That's perfect. You got him down perfectly.
And I said, "Yeah, but we ain't in Germany, old buddy."
You said that to him?
Oh, no, to myself. I didn't want to go too far.
I was wondering.
Anyways, he says he's always liked me and always thought I was a good boy and that he was going to give me one more chance. He wants a letter of apology. And if that letter of apology isn't on his desk by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I can consider myself fired.
I would have had a heart attack. What did you say?
I said I was not going to apologize if Andrew still had to pay for the hats. He said that was between him and Andrew and that he expected a letter from me in the morning. I said goodnight, walked out of his office, got my hat, went home. 10 minutes early.
I'm sweating. I swear to God, I'm sweating all over.
I mean, I don't know why I did it, but I just got so mad. It just wasn't fair. I mean, if you give in when you're 18 and a half, you'll give in for the rest of your life, don't you think?
I suppose so. So what's the decision? Are you going to write the letter?
No.
Positively?
Positively. Except, I'll have to discuss it with Pop. I know we need the money. But he told me once, you always have to do what you think is right in this world and stand up for your principles.
And what if he says he thinks you're wrong? that you should write the letter.
He won't. He's gonna leave it up to me. I know it.
But what if he says, write the letter?
Oh, well, that's something we won't know until after dinner, won't we?
All in all, it was shaping up to be one heck of a dinner. I'll say this though, I always had this two-way thing about my brother. Either I worshipped him, I worshipped the ground he walked on, or I hated him so much I wanted to kill him. That's how I feel about him today.